A national title on the line today from the ESPN Wide World of Sports for the boys 18U final between the Ponce Pumas and MVP Academy Fire here at the AAU Junior National Volleyball Championships. It's a title rematch. The road to the final round hasn't been easy. Here's their journey here to this title round. Nolan Alexander joined by the former UCF All-Conference honoree Aaron Campbell. We're so glad you're with us today. Aaron, today we have a chance to see some of the best volleyball that the boys division has to offer us.
And this is really the first time we've ever seen the boys play on E3, so I'm really excited about that. Boys have a very different style of play. They're all about power, so expect a lot of errors, but also expect those balls that hit the floor and bounce to the ceiling. It's going to be so much fun today.
Let's go ahead and get to meet these rosters. And we'll start with MVP Academy Fire.
And a lot of big players on this team. You have number 1, Trevor Kennan, number 10, Heath Hughes, and number 11, the setter, Diego Villafane. Those three are a lethal combo for this MVP Academy 18 Fire.
A look at Corey Marks in his second year coaching the Fire. He lost to the Ponce Pumas last season. You know he's got revenge on his mind today. And how about Ponce, Aaron?
And a lot of really good players on this team for Ponce Pumas. Definitely keep an eye out for number 5, Francisco Pomar. He is the setter. He's going to be the quarterback of this offense, and he's going to give the ball to his number 1 attacker, number 7, Jean-Victor Perez. A lot of attacks coming from that left side.
Francisco Pomar in his third year leading the Ponce Pumas, trying to go for back-to-back crowns. And it all comes down to this. The boys 18U final here from the ESPN Wide World of Sports. And we're live at the HP Fieldhouse. Here's a set of rules to what we're going for today. It's going to be a best of 3. Each of these teams has yet to play a 3-setter to reach this title round. They've done it in 2-set sweeps for their matches.
So big differences to note. Not many, but notice that the net is a lot higher than the female net. So we're looking at about 8 feet, where the women's is 7'4". So a lot higher, but the guys can certainly make do with the springs in their legs.
Ponce to serve in the red on the left of your screen. MVP Fire will be on your right. And here we go, the 18 Open Final underway. And already have our first points with MVP Academy.
And no surprise, it goes to the right side on that first play. One thing Diego Villafane will do is make sure that he spreads that offense all over the floor.
And it sails wide, an even match. Can already see the strength early on for these young men.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of thing to keep in mind too is that they don't have a lot of defense plays because of the power of the attack. So back row is really designed for passing and maybe out of system plays like back row attacks.
And a kill for MVP Academy.
And great run with Heath Hughes. See how the setter is farther away? I apologize. That's number 17, Dylan Ryan. If the setter's a little bit closer to that 10-foot line, if they want to get the middle activated, they run that 3, which is a little bit farther away. Great call.
Just inside the right line, a smackdown from Alejandro Irizarry. A denial at the net.
And big, powerful swings mean bigger, more rooftop type blocks. Straight to the floor from that left-hand side. There's not a lot of opportunity for coverage there.
Good look at the double team there from Dylan Ryan and Heath Hughes. Goes out of bounds, still strong again from that right side. But now looking at a 3-3 score here from the first set of the boys 18U final. Gabriel Serrano, next year he'll play at Life University in the Peach State of Georgia.
And I expect to see a lot of that. A lot of times when you're focused more on power, you're going to err. Also keep an eye out for more back row attacks as the boys, the influence from FIVB trickles down to the younger boys. They run the BIC or the pipe a lot, and it's almost like a tempo set out of that backcourt, and they certainly like to use the middle, as we've seen so far.
What an effort to get it back over. And their rally comes to a close with a dynamite kill for MVP.
And huge skyrocket attack by Kyle Thompson. Looks like he was going to dunk on this play. Look how long he hangs up in the air. He can have whatever shot he wants just because he can hang in the air, read what the defense is doing, and then take the swing.
Kyle Thompson or Klay Thompson, not sure who we saw there.
Yeah, exactly.
And another kill for MVP. It's Diego Villafane. 3-0 run for MVP Academy.
And so far, the passing has been so on point that both teams have probably given their middle attackers more attempts than their pin players, which is very uncommon in any level of volleyball. So credit to both back rows. They're passing very well and allowing a lot of middle opportunity for their offense.
Gabriel Cortez on the serve. And make it 2 in a row for the Pumas.
And when you hit the ball that hard, even with the good block in front of you, you can power through it. So huge swing on the outside. Jean-Victor Perez, the favorite on this front row, taking a big rip. Oh, wow, what a swing.
Tie game. 3-0 run for the Pumas.
And Itola Vasquez is a good defender. That ball just beats him low. He made the movement. He made the right movement. That ball was dropping below in his knee, so he dove for it, but it just had so much power, it was almost impossible to dig.
Cortez to serve once more. How about this run here for Ponce? Slammed down from the right side, Francisco Pomar.
And it's the right call because Pomar is the setter. And again, historically, setters aren't the biggest players on the court. So pushing that ball to the outside for MVP Academy was the right move. But disciplined players like Francisco Pomar set that block up well and can get their hands over the net. Oh, great play. Oh, great dig.
It's Trevor Kinnan going all out. 7-all.
And again, historically, guys aren't the biggest defenders on the volleyball court, but this match has been counterintuitive of that. They've been playing awesome defense. Libero's getting underneath the ball, actually turning plays over, so very good job by both sides defending the ball.
There's your libero again, Kinnan.
And a huge block by MVP Academy against Jean-Victor. As you can see, he almost cheats on that ball a little bit too much. So he's swinging back behind his body, doesn't get the same height that he normally would if that ball was stayed in front of him. Great close by the middle and the right side for MVP Academy.
Early on here in the opening set of the boys 18U final, it's been a game of runs thus far. And now Ponce trying to make one with Randy Perez, headed off to Damon College next year up in the Empire State. Close game, close number of kills too, Aaron.
And again, a lot of those kills are coming from the middle attack. It's almost like the outsides are setting up the rally point to get that middle of the ball as often as possible. And really, we've seen Diego Villafane do it all. He likes to set, and then they have that 6-2 where they allow him to attack in the front row, only 3 hands in front of him, and he just uses that left hand of the left side blocker.
It's been tough to challenge that right side. Villafane again.
And the University of Charleston is getting a baller of an athlete in this kid. Look at him press over that net. That attack had no chance. He stepped right in front of it. Great play and great block at the net. Just looked like Omar Hoyos didn't even realize that ball was coming to him. Broke the pass a little bit earlier. So guys get taught a little bit differently with their hands. They're actually taught to kind of keep their hands open because of the power of the ball. They can kind of control a little bit more. But sometimes you see that happen where the hands break just a little bit too soon, and they have that kind of come through, you know, almost like a hoop where it goes right through the hands and results in an error.
Pomar in the serve. Throw down, Jean-Victor Perez.
And he is working his tail off on that left-hand side, and happy to see it connect. That really sharp cross-court shot. You can see it almost mishits his hand, hits that outside half of his right hand to make that sharp cross. Again, I still think he has some more opportunity with getting that ball out in front of him, but his attack style kind of forces him to hit the ball a little bit behind him. Oh, great dig.
Doesn't matter the range, Diego Villafane seems to find an open spot on the floor. I
mean, and he is just playing good volleyball right now. It's not even that he's doing anything exceptionally well. He's just being very, very disciplined with all of his technique, his blocking and his attacking. So that is really encouraging to see. He's just a really disciplined kid.
His 4th kill of the game, and you can see why he's the team captain for MVP Academy Fire. Knotted at 11 here at the ESPN Wide World of Sports, the HP Fieldhouse for the boys 18U final. We're playing a best of 3 today. Up to 25 here in the first set. Got to win by at least 2. And the Pumas take the lead.
MVP wants the touch, but I don't think that ball broke the plane of the net, so good call by the officials. Give that point to Ponce Pumas. Oh, great shot. Great shot by Gabriel Cortez. If you can't beat them at the net, beat them high. Use those hands to your advantage. Yes, they are disciplined, but there's only, your fingertips are only as strong as they are. It's a great job to go high off those hands.
Each of these teams have given all-out effort on the floor. You can see the dig totals there. How impressed have you been with specifically both of these liberos?
Very impressed. Ball control is at the highest I've seen ever watching boys. Passing, good ball control. They're controlling those free ball opportunities, good dig location. So the back row is doing its job to help the front row have as many kills as we've seen.
Italo Vasquez here for MVP Academy.
It almost looked like Gabriel Serrano didn't expect that ball to come back to him. Great heads-up play to go to that seam. Remember, the setter is in that one position or that right back position, and they don't like to play defense typically. So anytime you attack that side of the court, you want to go into that deep corner, and you're going to get a kill about 90% of the time if you attack it.
Just inside and a point for MVP.
Oh, that tempo was perfect. Set was a little bit too low for Randy Perez. He had that elbow just a little bit too low. If it's just a smidge higher, that is almost a perfect set. Really good tempo and really good attack, just a smidge higher. And that's a great save by Francisco Pomar, just out of bounds.
3-0 run for MVP Academy Fire to retake the lead against the Ponce Pumas. Twice as nice for the Fire.
And MVP Academy almost was yelling at the ref saying they didn't touch that first attack, but when you have a player who is as lethal laterally like Kyle Thompson, you know that you can get a good block or a good touch off that block.
Grab your Gatorade, let's go inside the huddle.
They've been running it lately into the tournament. Okay, so just be ready for that out here or that outside ball going out to Gabo. Okay? For what? Yeah, he's trying to go for the tool. That's fine. We're so big that if we get over the net, the tool will go over our head. Don't worry about that. Just get over, be smart. Remember, not big and dumb, big and smart. Reach and press over. Let's go. MVP.
Very matter of fact there for Corey Marks here.
And it's really interesting. Corey Marks has a history of coaching females. This is really, he started MVP. He's the club director. It hasn't been until the organization started in 2013, or I'm sorry, 3 years old, so 2015, that he started coaching boys. So he's kind of had to adapt his style, but yes, he is very matter of fact, talking about exactly what he wants them to do. He recognizes that they're a bigger team. He knows that they can outblock. You just have to be smart about what you're blocking and where you're blocking.
This MVP squad views itself as a trendsetter. It's a team that's based in the Central Florida area, has a lot of players from South Florida. They practice once a week on Saturdays, pretty much all day on Saturday, but they want to change the viewpoints in the culture of boys volleyball here in the Sunshine State.
Yeah, and while Florida is one of the more progressive programs or opportunities for boys volleyball, it's still very, very few and far between. You know, you see University of Pacific getting rid of their men's volleyball program in the last 2 years. So the development of men's volleyball, it's kind of ebbs and flows. Obviously, when they're in an Olympic year, there's a lot of attention to it. So I love that MVP's focus is to bring the sport of volleyball to more boys in the Florida area.
Another great effort on the back line.
Oh, great double. Oh, it's up! And great heads-up play by Kyle Thompson. Setter is front row. middle back was trying to run a slide there. That means that the setter, number 5, Francisco Pomar, is Kyle Thompson's assignment. He has to stay on top of him, and he does a good job there. Doesn't let him get that tip over the net.
And MVP takes the point. What is critical there, Aaron?
Just great heads-up play, deep corners. Everybody expects the guys to hit on that 10-foot line, especially out of the middle. But Kyle Thompson saw he had a blocker in front of him, makes that deep shot. No one's there to defend it.
Kyle Thompson, another Division I commit for MVP. He's joining Heath Hughes, heading west to Grand Canyon University next year.
Oh.
Point for the Pumas.
And a much-needed side out for Ponce Pumas. What we saw them do so well in their first few points when they were hanging tight with MVP is they were running that middle really efficiently. Huge block. Almost forced it out of bounds, but no touch there, and it was in.
It's the big middle, Randy Perez.
You can just hear that ball come off the hand, especially when that first one got blocked. That has to, like, kill your hands. They hit the ball so hard. Great swing by Omar Hoyas. He is just hitting that ball really high over the net.
In the stands, you might want to go grab a catcher's mitt from Champion Stadium just down the road.
Right? Oh, my gosh, that has to hurt so bad.
Hoyas again. And it stayed in.
And this is really the battle of the volleyball version of David and Goliath. You have a shorter team and a bigger team. The bigger team will beat you with height. The smaller team has to beat you with speed. And so far, Ponce Pumas in the last 5, 6, 7 points haven't been able to use the speed that they had early on in the set. So they need to get the pass there and be able to leverage that to stay tight and keep this match going and not lose the first set.
These teams met last year for a championship, and it was the Ponce Pumas coming out on top, and we've got a timeout on the floor.
Seguimos jugando, no podemos encojonarnos. Hay que seguir jugando. 21-16, hay que quitar el balón, estamos a 4 puntos. Gente, tenemos, si es 21-17 son 4 puntos. ¿Ok? Hey. Tenemos que quitar el balón, tenemos que bloquear más balones, gente, no estamos bloqueando balones. Ellos no han ganado el set porque no han bloqueado los balones. Hay que bloquear más balones. Vamos.
Great to go inside the huddle with Francisco Pomar for the Ponce Pumas, 3rd year with the squad. He knows this team. I'm sure he's been in this situation before.
Yeah, and I think for them it just breaks down to the passing. They did such a good job of ball control when they were tied with this MVP Academy team. They have to get back to that. They have to be able to get that ball control back so they can run that middle as effectively as they did in the first few points of this set.
Playing to 25 here in the first set. The winning team needs to win by at least 2 here, this best of 3. There you go, timeout works for the Pumas. Can hear all this noise in the background. This is the 45th annual AAU Junior Volleyball National Championships. This isn't the only game we have going on today. Aaron, we spoke about this a few days ago in our previous broadcast, but this is the Guinness World Record for the largest volleyball event, period.
And imagine having 170-plus courts in the convention center and 170-plus whistles going all at once. It tends to get pretty loud, and we're fortunate enough to have a really cool championship setting here at the HP Fieldhouse.
These teams have worked their way over. They played at the, as you said, the Orange County Convention Center. They played at the Visa Center right next door. Had to win in the semis earlier. Each team won by 2 sets. And a challenge of the net goes the way of the MVP Academy Fire.
And see, that's the biggest difference between men's and women's, too. You think the block is a little bit early, but because of the hang time and their ability to press over the net more effectively, they get just enough touch on that. You can see as the blockers are actually on their way down, but they still are able to block that ball just because their hands are so disciplined.
Not so fast, says Alejandro Irizarry.
And Gabriel Serrano, one of the main offensive weapons for Ponce Pumas. We've only seen him take one attack today on that right-hand side. That might be another option for Francisco Pomar to start pushing to that right side and seeing what the block is for the left-handed blockers for MVP Academy.
Vasquez, electric from the outside. Aaron, how difficult is that adjustment to make when you get that high velocity serve, then it catches over the net and throws your trajectory off?
It's like it doesn't just change speed, it also changes direction. So great heads-up play by number 4, Irizarry, who just made that play, kept that ball alive. And again, I love that they went to that right-hand side. Francisco Pomares and trying to force that ball to the left-hand side. Great job to force it to Jean-Victor, who played right side for that one attack and serve receive.
Corey Marks for MVP Academy takes the timeout. Why do you think the timeout's taken here,
Just
Aaron?
a change in momentum. He might see something on the other side of the net that he doesn't like, or he's trying to tell his team to settle down and refocus back in. You know, it's hard sometimes when you have a bigger lead. You don't want to give your other opponent hope, right? Even though it's a 4 or 5 point lead at the highest, you don't want to let them sneak back in, especially this late into the set. You want to just execute the ball well. He might be also calling strategy. So big first ball kill opportunity for MVP. They get the side out, they get match, or they get set point, and they get to serve. So they have their option to do that. So it's all about getting that first ball kill right now.
If you're just joining us, we're in the first set of the boys 18U final from the HB Fieldhouse at ESPN's Wide World of Sports, playing to 25.
Oh, wow, great set. If that were my girls, who I have the opportunity to coach, I would yell at my setter for trying to run a middle attack when you're that far off the net. But Dylan Ryan and his setter, Villafane, have such a great connection. They can recognize where they need to be in relation to each other to execute that tempo set out of the middle.
Set point here for MVP Academy Fire. But here come the Pumas winning a battle at the net.
And we've seen Ponce Pumas play the kind of defense that they need to play to get themselves out of this. So you have to focus in and bear down on that defense to stay in this first set.
And an error leads the conclusion of our first set as MVP Academy 18 Fire takes the opener 25-21 and moves one set away from a national championship. Set 2, all the action coming up next.
Hey, ready?
Ready.
Ready?
Vamos.
Habla más. Darling.
Ready? Ready.
The Junior NBA World Championship. 32 elite boys and girls teams from around the globe will compete
For a chance to be named Junior NBA World Champions.
The Junior NBA World Championship. Get ready.
Ready on 3. In, on, set, ready.
The ESPN Wide World of Sports complex is a cutting-edge multi-sport facility.
Leads the way for Godai. To the 10, 5. Touchdown, USA.
Athletes from over 70 countries compete in more than 60 different sports, all at the center of the Walt Disney World Resort in Florida.
Blocked at the net. And there it is.
Our returning champion has done it again.
For more information, visit ESPNWWOS.com.
ESPN Plus. Thousands of live events. Exclusive releases. The entire 30 for 30 collection. Available on the ESPN app and ESPN.com. All of this and more exclusively on ESPN Plus. Start your free trial now.
A title rematch from last season, MVP Academy Fire. Came out short in 2017. They've moved one step towards coming out on top here in 2018, winning set 1 from the HP Fieldhouse. Jean-Victor Perez, Aaron.
He was such a lethal weapon when Ponce Pumas was tied in there. They really forced that ball to him. He was picking the shots that he wanted. They need to get him reactivated later on in the set, as they didn't do in the first set, if they want to be able to compete with this MVP Academy team. So many offensive weapons, but he certainly is the firecracker for the Ponce Pumas.
For MVP, the team captain showed his versatility.
No surprise here. He was blocking at the net. He was dishing out one of the best offenses we've seen, spreading it around the court, and was attacking very well. We see some of his blocking power, and he's just played very, very well all around. No hesitation as to why he's the team captain. He certainly is their leader.
Moving on to the second set, these teams switch sides. Ponce Pumas, you can see they're in the red. Now I'll be on the right side of your screen, MVP Academy Fire. And the black and blue to your left. In that first set, Aaron, we never saw a lead greater than 4 or 5 points. It seemed to be just a game of momentum swings.
Yeah, and it really is, and really, it's all about runs in volleyball, so whoever can slow down the runs of the opponent, even if it's just 1-2 point run, that's just enough to make it to that point. That's just enough threshold to win that set. So you have to go kill for kill, battle for battle to stay evenly matched, which they did up until that 13-point mark. And then it was just 2 sets of 2 runs that MVP had that let them lead and then win that first set.
Any major adjustments you're looking out of the Ponce Pumas here in the second set?
I expect them to do a little bit better of a job of blocking against the line shot. We did see a lot of MVP Academy players hit down the line effectively, so they either need to make the defensive adjustment or the blocking adjustment to defend that side of the court. And if you're MVP Academy, really you just want to keep spreading that offense as much as possible.
Jean-Victor Perez picks up his 6th kill to open up this second set. Lots of muscle, but just outside.
Drops that left shoulder, loses about 1.5 inches on that swing. If he would have kept that left shoulder nice and tall, that ball might have landed in.
Pomar on the serve. And MVP Academy gains its first point.
Only the 3rd service error of this match, and all have been on the Ponce Pumas side. You don't want to give points away against a team that is as efficient as MVP Academy.
Here's Lawrence Cevallo III. And opens us up with a service ace. Our first here of the match. So there's such a contrast. There we go from error to ace immediately.
And that's where smaller teams have an advantage. You don't have to hit the ball on the 10-foot line. You can use those hands. They are there for a reason. Yes, they're there to block you, but if you know how to use them right, that's the most efficient attack in volleyball. There is no defense designed to make that tool touch.
Only a split second to think about that one on the back line.
And that's really good setup by right side Jonathan Cruz. He did take away that line shot. That's just really, really good attacking from Hoyos. Has that whole cross-court shot. Jean-Victor Perez made the right read, but that thing had some heat on it.
Hope you didn't blink on the replay. And a fortuitous bounce for MVP Academy off the serve. Ryan to serve once more.
Was off the hand and out of bounds, so it hit the antenna. Something we can't see from our angle is as that attack happened, hit off the block and goes into the antenna. That's the perfect kill there too. Goes out of bounds. No team from MVP or no player from MVP Academy can make that play or recover that ball.
What was he trying to do there, Aaron?
Trying to save that set, maybe try to go too sharp cross court. Ball was a little bit too wide on the set, but you definitely don't want to give Ponce Pumas any leg room either, because we've seen them be super efficient. So you have to tighten up those points. Use those opportunities to set up your defense or set up your offense in a free ball option, but have to slow down those service errors too. That's the 4th one for Ponce Pumas in this match.
Rotation brings Heath Hughes up to serve for MVP. Great look at the action there from Gabriel Cortez for the Pumas.
And we heard in the first set, Corey Marks talk about Gabo or Gabriel Cortez in the timeout. They know he's a lethal weapon. They have a triple block, a double block. We're going to show the triple. Great swing, deep corner. Trevor Keenan just tried to make a play on it, pulled his hands away too late, and there's a kill for Ponce Pumas.
Back-to-back for the Pumas, who take a 2-point lead.
And rare error by the team captain, Villafane. He wanted it almost a little bit too much. We see that happen with outside hitters a lot. Oh, great shot.
Cortez again.
And again, smaller teams play smart, right? They play a little bit smarter. They don't have the power to bail them out, so they have to use their brain a little bit. I don't know why number 13, Omar Hoyos, didn't block with that ball, especially against a player like Gabriel Cortez, but great swing by him to find that deep corner.
All the momentum with the red jersey Pumas right now. And a timeout on the floor.
We got to just put the ball in the court, be smarter. We talked about that the first day and the second day. All right, it's all our mistakes. We probably have 4 or 5 mistakes if we look at the stats. All right? But it's simple volleyball, simple volleyball. Pass the ball up, we get good sets, we get good hits. That's, I mean, right now it's sounding a lot easier, harder than it is. I mean, we've been doing it all tournament. All tournament. Settle down on our end. Settle yourselves down. Come on. Let's go. MVP. Hey, like we went on that one game. We've lost. We've lost. Play the game.
Something in common with these coaches, trying to mimic the attitude they want their teams to be. Never too high, never too low.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially with the guys can react better to errors than women do and most of the time, just because their short-term memory is a little bit better, and they just kind of, that's just their mentality. So they just have to settle back in, keep the ball in play, and get great kills, first ball opportunities like we just saw from Hoyos on the left side.
He listened into the message. One more look at it.
And something we used to say to each other at UCF all the time was, listen, you've passed the ball so many times in your life, this time is no different. Just keep it as simple as possible. The game, there's a lot going on, and in my head, I see a lot of different things happening. But at the end of the day, it's pretty simple as a player. Keep the balloon off the floor and make good attacks. And that's all Coach Marks wants for his team. So they're calling back row block or back row attack for MVP Academy. Point goes to Ponce Pumas.
Cortez, who's got a couple kills here in the second set, to serve for the Pumas, trying to even up The match against MVP Academy here in a best-of-3 from the HP Fieldhouse for the 18U boys final.
MVP Academy wants an explanation.
So what's the full definition of the rule here, what we're looking at, Aaron, based on what was called?
So if the ball crosses the plane of the net and the setter, who is back row, which will always be the case for MVP Academy because they run something called a 6-2. So if the setter is back row, he cannot essentially break the plane of the net or block the ball.
Let's take another look.
So Heath Hughes comes in, makes the play. They make the call that it is a back row play. It might have been that the players were underneath the net. That would be the call that makes more sense than a back row attack. But had, you know, it ended play, point back to Pumas.
Five-point lead for the Pumas, thanks to Jean-Victor Perez.
And you don't want to give Jean-Victor any more room than that. I mean, he is such a powerful attack. So far, 19 kills for Ponce Pumas. MVP Academy trailing with 13. And a lot of those kills for Ponce Pumas have come into this second set. They have been on fire on offense.
Out of those 19, 7 belong to Jean-Victor Perez. And a quick ace for the Pumas with Cortez. First for the Pumas. Good to see Ponce kind of battle back. They had some service errors early on.
Yeah, and with a service ace, your coach will definitely be happy about that. Pomar is not mad if a team gets aces, especially against a big team like MVP Academy.
Largest lead for the Pumas here at the match. And again, some inconsistencies we might see at this level.
And you know what's hard to kind of wrap your head around with 6 service errors is serving is the one thing in volleyball you can control. All you have to do is focus on getting that ball over the net, and it's that simple. So you don't want to have a team with 6 serving errors. That's a pretty high number.
What's difficult for both of these teams and for every team competing the championship round, for those that may not know, this is not the first game they are playing today. They have not had a full day of rest. This has been continuous nonstop action with maybe 30, 40 minutes in between matches. This is the 3rd game of the day for each of these squads. They've played all week as well. So as much as talent, execution matters, being focused and locked in just as important here at the HP Fieldhouse.
And just like that, we see MVP show what they like to do. They're running that middle off a good pass. Dylan Ryan, very efficient middle attacker. They need to keep forcing him the ball as much as possible. Yeah, that's double contact. Libero's in the way. He's trying to make that set one-footed. Has no body control. Setting isn't always done with just the hands and the arms. A lot of the power and strength and stability comes from the core. So if your core's off balance, your hands will be off balance and result in a double contact.
MVP Academy has now cut it down to a 3-point game.
That is called a bounce. That is a bounce house by Jean-Victor Perez. Why leave him with one blocker? Heath Hughes is a great blocker, but wow, that is a dangerous position to be in. Great setting choice by number 5, Francisco Pomar, going to his lethal weapon, Jean-Victor Perez. 9 kills, 2 digs in a 2-set match, and we're not even through it yet. He is going to be in double digits by the end of this.
Pomar said before the game he's our first option, and it's no wonder why. It's been nearly automatic from that outside spot.
And Alejandro Irizarry with the answer to that. Not a lot of blocks on Dylan Ryan, so great job by Irizarry to step in front of him, take away the one shot he has with that right-hand attack, took away the left back attack, and blocked that ball straight down.
That block, just the first here of the second set. We saw a combined 7 in the opener.
And this is what happens when you only focus on power, which MVP Academy has a lot of. They're relying too heavily on that. It's almost like players are trying to swing for all 5 points And all they have to do is get the ball over the net and make Ponce Pumas play some defense. But just like that, this is how crazy volleyball is. I mean, it's back and forth. It's all about controlling momentum, ending runs for your opponent. And Ponce Pumas is a completely different team than we saw in that first set.
Captain Francisco Pomar here to serve for the Pumas. What a showing there from the outside, Heath Hughes.
Another Grand Canyon commit. He's just super athletic. He's done pretty much everything on the court, serving well. He's had some really good attacks from the left side. He'll go back to that right side attack. But he's just one of those players that's going to be efficient.
Gains his first kill.
Oh, great save.
Hello, Irizarry once more.
And a huge save by Diego Villafane. Look how tight he is to the net. He has to do something with that ball. If you're number one, Trevor Kennan, you know that you have to cover that ball. You know that the block is going to be big. Give your team opportunity to get that ball back just by sitting in and covering the ball. Oh, great save again. Serving up pancakes. And we've seen Gabo, or Gabriel Cortez, mix up his shots. He is so tricky, just right over the head of Omar Hoyos, who should probably take that ball overhead, but just heads up play from the left side attacker, number 2, Cortez.
4 players, somehow he finds an open spot. Perez in the back line with the dig.
Oh, great dig! Oh, can't do it twice. Great swinging by Heath Hughes. I love the combination of Heath Hughes attacking against one of the better defenders, Jean-Victor Perez. That's what's so fun about volleyball. Look at it, he just sits underneath it. He's falling away from it, takes a little bit of heat off of it. And here comes Heath Hughes again, taking just a smidge off that play and keeping Jean-Victor on his heels.
Dylan Ryan up to serve for MVP. Look at the get up right up the middle for Irizarry.
And it's just such a great setting choice by Francisco Pomar. Even though you have a good blocker in front of you in Kyle Thompson, you see how they're so far away from the middle of the court. They're actually backed up a little bit. And Kyle Thompson didn't recognize that they were that far over, leaving that right side of the court wide open for that attack. So good swing by Irizarry.
4th kill for number 4. MVP Academy trying to hang around. Heath Hughes, I think, has done a very fine job within this set of adjusting. He had that 1 kill attempt where he smacked in the top of the net, but his last 3 attempts have been very solid.
And when you see him in the back row, that means that Villafane, the MVP from the first set on MVP Academy, is in the front row again. So keep an eye out for those left-sided attacks from Villafane.
Playing to 25 here in the second set. MVP Academy took the first 25-21. Best of 3 from the HP Fieldhouse here at ESPN's Wide World of Sports.
Oh, wow. So middle attacks that look like a bow and arrow whip is exactly why it's like the perfect technique right here. Look how high his elbow is, and he just pops that ball straight down. No blocker in front of him.
He saw the setup from Hoyes. You saw him charging in.
Yeah.
Started salivating.
Yeah.
Look,
call that
juicy.
lunch.
Here we go.
Yeah, we call that lunch.
We talked about pancakes earlier. I'm in the mood for brunch right now here on Sunday. MVP Academy trying to hang around. The Pumas have led by 6 twice.
Oh, great dig. Another great dig. Oh.
Point MVP.
So Jean-Victor is fighting this, saying that the ball hit off the blocker and went out of bounds.
What are your thoughts off the replay?
Yeah, that point should go to Ponce Pumas. Goes off the blocker's hand and out of bounds. Never made contact back on the same net or side of the net as attacker Jean-Victor. But it's so fast. I mean, can you get mad about it? Like, it's so fast.
Thankfully, we've got replay. You can be the judge at home. But what'd you say the other day? Ball don't lie?
The ball never lies, yeah. Volleyball karma. Oh.
Tip is missed time, and the Pumas now lead by 5.
And rare error by Kyle Thompson. Him and Heath Hughes have such a good connection. They're both going to the same school next year. They usually have their timing all figured out. Just a little bit low for him. Wanted the tip too much. Didn't put enough heat on it. And that makes Ponce Pumas one step closer.
Timeout by Corey Marks in MVP Academy. Showing the Ponce Pumas here in the second set. Aaron, what's going to take for MVP to try to get back into this one?
Well, they kind of aired themselves out of the second set. A lot of unforced errors, a lot of hitting the ball out of bounds uncharacteristically, a lot of in-the-net violations or mishits. It just seems very uncharacteristic volleyball for this MVP Academy team. So they have to settle back down, get that nice pass, get a good set, and then they'll see the kills come and the points come.
Here at the 45th Annual AAU Junior National Volleyball Championship for the Boys 18U Open Final. A title rematch between the Ponce Pumas and MVP Academy Fire. MVP took the opening set 25-21. The Ponce Pumas found some momentum here in the second set. But if there's one thing that's been a bugaboo for the Pumas, it's been these service errors.
It certainly is. That's the 7th so far of the match. Oh!
Back-to-back for the Pumas. And it's the lanky middle Dylan Ryan.
Hey, when you hit the ball that hard, the ball's going to come back pretty fast. So you got to give credit to Randy Perez. That's just a really good double block. Good setup by number 17, Dylan Ryan. Had the help from his outside Vasquez. Perfect technique.
Jean-Victor Perez has been a star here in the second set. Now is his team 2 points away from evening this match.
And just utterly brilliant volleyball. That ball's too tight, goes up there with his left hand and just dinks it off the attacker's hands. That's all you have to do. Make the play better, and if you can get a kill out of it, as a coach, you're just happy.
Did it stay in? Yes, it did. Who else? Jean-Victor Perez.
And so far, it hasn't been power that's been beating MVP Academy. It's just been smart shots. Really, really smart roll shot. That's a big block.
Well, look at it. Look at a pound of set,
yeah.
too.
I'm using
That's
my
exactly
brain,
what you're saying.
I'm using my brain. It's just such smart volleyball right now by Ponce Pumas.
11 kills for Mr. Perez. And now set point for the Ponce Pumas, trying to even this best of 3 here for the 18U boys final. And here we go to a third and decisive final set from the HP Fieldhouse as the Ponce Pumas even it up with a 25-20 decision. Aaron, what more could you ask for?
That's good volleyball right there. Both sides, we love extra volleyball here.
John Victor Perez wills the Pumas to a third and final set. We will decide a national champion after this break.
Experience running through Disney theme parks when you participate in a Run Disney race weekend. Whether you're a beginner or an experienced runner, Run Disney has a distance for everyone from 5Ks to marathons. And with some amazing race weekend themes like Star Wars and Classic Disney, you'll be cheered on by some real characters. Looking for your next finisher medal? Visit rundisney.com to learn more.
Hey, ready?
Ready.
Ready? Vamos. Habla más.
Darla.
Ready? Ready.
The Junior NBA World Championship. 32 elite boys and girls teams from around the globe will compete
for a chance to be named Junior NBA World Champions.
The Junior NBA World Championship. Get ready.
Ready on three. In, on, set, ready.
Disney Soccer Tournaments presented by AS Roma provides players of all ages and skill levels the opportunity to compete against athletes from across the U.S. and around the world. From 3v3 youth tournaments to elite showcase events with hundreds of college coaches in attendance, playing soccer at the ESPN Wide World of Sports complex has something for everyone. To find out how you can play here, visit DisneySoccer.com.
Some of the best boys volleyball this nation has to offer, and we will decide a national champion for the 18U in a third and final set, with the Ponce Pumas battling back thanks to their Mr. All-Everything, John Victor Perez, Aaron.
What we saw him do better in the second set is mix up his shots. He was not just chomping at the bits to get the most powerful swings on the court. He just wanted to get kills, and the majority of his attacks were just nice, easy roll shots. He added some power in there when he had the opportunity to do so, but just used his brain on a lot of good plays and really led his team to victory in that second set.
So the third and final set will be a best of 15. Again, needing to win by 2. MVP Academy Fire won the opener 25-21. Ponce Pumas took the second set, more recently 25-20. These teams met last year, and it was the Ponce Pumas coming out on top. It's been a challenging year for both of these squads. For MVP Academy Fire, trying to get everyone together from all over the state of Florida, practice once a week. For the Ponce Pumas, they were devastated by Hurricane Maria. Ponce coming from the southern part of the island of Puerto Rico. They were out 4 months without practice. They did not get in a full gym together until February. And how about that without much practice at all? Maybe one, I believe Francisco Pomar told me. They qualified for nationals in St. Louis in March. And the Pumas gained the first point.
And that's something we didn't expect in the second set. Villafane, who was lights out in the first set for MVP Academy, not getting as much action, airing the ball in that first play. I do expect them to force the ball to Villafane as much as possible, though, especially when they need those first ball kills. Oh, great dig. Look at that dig location.
Jeremy Perez again.
Three back-to-back swings. That is perfect rally defense. Big attacks by Jean-Victor Perez. His team covering him, getting good digs in the perfect location, and him mixing up the shot every single time. That's what you want from a good outside hitter. Not the same shot twice. Totally different shots. How does the defense react to that? Great swing on the outside by Jean-Victor Perez.
You can tell he's been playing this game for a long, long time.
And he's reading the court so well. Oh, great play by Hughes. Oh, it's still up. Wow.
The excitement in the Pumas huddle with Irizarry and Perez.
Where did Irizarry come from? Like, second set, this guy became like the monster net controller, getting awesome slowdowns, awesome blocks against a big swinging MVP Academy team.
Number 4 kills, 4 blocks.
Right,
Let's listen
mix
in.
it around. Mix it around. Run ones, push threes. All right, get them thinking about what we're doing and create one-on-one blocks. All right, create one-on-one blocks. Hey, this is it, man. This third set. Third set to 15. They're giving it their all. They're showing up. They're blocking. They're giving it their all. And then they're going to die out. I need you guys to give it your all. Come on.
And that's what MVP Academy did so well in that first set, was mixing up the offense. They weren't one-dimensional. They were multi-dimensional. Everybody had a bunch of swings. And so far, they haven't been able to get to that. But Ponce Pumas, led by Pomar, have done an awesome job of getting their offense going. And then when you have Irizarry come in and be this monster blocker, it's like, how do you even respond to that?
MVP Academy fires out strong following the timeout with Vasquez picking up the kill.
And just like that, MVP Academy listened to what Corey Marks said and left Vasquez one-on-one on that outside. Oh.
Tough play. Everyone appears to be all right, and MVP Academy has picked up back-to-back points.
Got a sweat timeout. Got to get the sweat off the floor. And if you notice, a lot of guys don't have knee pads. They tend to dive a lot differently than female athletes. They lead with their chest, so they don't have the necessary knee pads. Some players do just because they tend to play more defense or they take balls a little bit lower, but the diving technique for guys is all about the upper body and the chest.
Anything different in the training for the boys' teams as well in the offseason as far as the exercises that they do based off that?
No, I think the overall, everybody wants to be big, strong, and powerful. So I don't think that there's much difference in like a weight room training perspective. There certainly is in style, just because you see plays like that. High off the hands, your middle backs tend to be a little bit deeper, where the girls, they tend to be a little bit shorter for roll shots, things like that. They're just little nuances that are different, but from an overall training perspective, not much difference at all.
There's Gabriel Cortez.
And he's played some really smart volleyball throughout this match too. He's been kind of the trickster more so than Jean-Victor, and we've seen Jean-Victor Perez be very, very tricky. So huge accolades for Cortez. Not the tallest guy on the court, not the biggest jumper, but certainly uses his brain to his advantage and tools that block well.
That's his 7th kill, as you can see the kill totals on your screen. If it wasn't for Jean-Victor Perez, we'd be talking about Jonathan Cortez so much. Or Gabriel Cortez, excuse me. But Jean-Victor Perez has flexed his muscles this afternoon.
And MVP Academy is upset. They think that someone was in the net on the block. But
see Corey Marks more animated than we've seen this afternoon.
Yeah. If you're Heath Hughes and you want to make that roll shot, it cannot be a free ball. You have to make a defensive swing. The middle as a high ball is too easy for a good ball control team like Ponce Pumas.
You think he doesn't agree with the call?
I think he's a little upset about it. But at some point you have to move on, you know. I understand the high level of contention at it, but let your players play. And Don't risk it. You don't want to push too much.
Needless to say, the biggest set of the year for each of these squads. Here, decisive third set from the 18U Boys Open Final, the 45th annual AAU Junior Volleyball National Championships.
Yeah.
Marks won't back away.
Yeah, that's enough. Let him play. I understand that there's a lot of pressure on this, but at some point you just gotta let it. Oh yeah, that's on the way down. It's a net call, but you know what? They missed it. Move on. You know, it happens. Let your players play. Let them battle back. There are hands in pockets. There are cards in those pockets. You just need to let them play. Just move on. Officials miss calls all the times. They miss them in your favor or not. You know, it happens. You just have to move on and let them play.
And this is the first time we have seen Marks erupt at just about anything. He's been very even keeled prior to this.
Ball never lies. Ball goes out of bounds. All of that for that. You know, it's like, come on. Now, this is what I don't know.
Okay.
Do guys react positively to that? I don't know. As a woman, I would probably not. I'd be like, oh my gosh, like I'm embarrassed. But guys, they're motivated by different things, right? So is his team, MVP Academy, going to use this as fuel to win this set? You don't know. It's just so cool to watch. We get to watch this unfold before our eyes.
Back-to-back, the latest, a kill by Omar Hoyos.
And a miss hit sometimes works to your advantage. We call that a paintbrush because it paintbrushes off those fingertips. Great job by Trevor Kennan to keep that ball alive. A little bit of a miss hit, got a little excited, but hey, whatever you can do to get a kill.
With the Bob Ross, just a happy little stroke.
Yeah, there you
down the
go.
middle. MVP Academy won the first set. The Ponce Pumas battled back. The largest lead in this entire match has been the Pumas by 6. The Pumas up by 3 after MVP's first service error. And a huge discrepancy, the Pumas have had 8 service errors in this ball game. Irizarry to serve.
Wants to take the setter out, just doesn't go high enough over the net.
Now to the 8th point, teams flip sides. Again, playing to 15 here in the 3rd and final set to crown a national champion in the boys 18U Open Final. Francisco Pomar trying to go back-to-back with his Pumas.
Oh, great spot. Great dig. Oh. And that's the MVP Academy we saw in that first set. Huge, huge block.
Another
great
look at
dig
it.
by Jean. By Perez, huge swing, huge block by Hughes. And that's a great rotation. Oh, that's a great rotation for MVP Academy. They do have their best players in the front row, especially their blocker, Kyle Thompson.
And the official had to duck down in the back row there in the corner. Bring out the radar gun on that swat. Jorge Aran up in the rotation for the Pumas. Omar Hoyos.
I think we've seen more emotion from both teams in this third set than we've seen in the whole match. And we call this a towel timeout. This is to slow momentum down typically. It's not always to wipe the sweat off the floor. But hey, if you don't want to use a timeout and you want to slow the match down, get the tempo back, the towel is a great way to do it.
It's a mound visit.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Just hinders that momentum just enough. And that's where we've seen Gabriel Cortez get in a little bit of trouble. If that ball's a little tight and inside, he doesn't have the opportunity to go high off the hands. He's trying to force it high so his team can cover that ball, but that's just good blocking by Villafane. A little too tight, a little bit too far inside. He needs that ball nice and high.
10th block for MVP Academy, the 5th for Villafane, to go along with his 5 kills. So now we see a much cool and collected Corey Marks here. What do you think the message is?
It's all about getting the first ball kills, I think, for MVP Academy. Obviously, you want to slow down any rallies you have, but you also want to make sure you're using that offense to your advantage. Even though MVP Academy doesn't tend to play fast volleyball, if they're ever going to add some tempo to the sets, they need to do it now, because I think that's where they can just make that 10% distinguishment, if that's a word, from Ponce Pumas. Ponce Pumas hasn't seen that fast attack, and if they want to win, they have to get that 22 kill number up to balance out that 32 kills from Ponce Pumas.
Sales just won, and MVP Academy has cut it down to a 1-point ball game here in the third and final set.
And Villafane comes to the front row. Good blocking rotation for MVP Academy. The right idea. Hoyos wanted to go over and deep, but he's a little bit off balance, changes the position of his attack, and that ball goes out of bounds. Oh, great dig. Wow.
Jeremy Perez. He's been an unsung hero for the Pumas.
Oh, great save. Oh, right idea by Kyle Thompson. Dunked that ball a little bit, just caught it too late.
Timeout on the floor. The Ponce Pumas lead here in this third and final set from the HP Fieldhouse.
Llega con dos manos para que la deje acá y le da hacia atrás. Ey, óyeme, oye. Estamos 11-8. 11-8. No tenemos presión. Voy a seguir jugando contigo y tú vas a meter la jodida bola esa. Ey, yo voy a ti. Yo voy a ti y tú vas a meter la jodida bola esa. Ey, hay que asistir. Oye. Hay que asistir el ataque. Asistimos ataque y damos un gorro ahora, cojones. Vamos arriba.
Puma, asiste y bloquea.
Can you imagine the emotion here, specifically for the Ponce Pumas, with everything this team has been through from Hurricane Maria, being ravaged from that, fighting their way? It's tough to repeat as a champion. It's not easy to do, one of the most difficult things to do in sports. Now they're so close.
Oh, wow.
John Victor Perez. I don't need to do my job. I can just get a record player over here for you, Aaron.
My goodness, that is a swing of all swings against a huge block nonetheless. Omar Hoyos, Kyle Thompson, a little bit too far wide on that block setup, but just that change in set position gives Perez opportunity to just unload. 15 kills, 3 digs. Huge match for him today.
Stat stuffer. But not to be outdone, Omar Hoyos has been strong for MVP Academy in the third set.
And that's the fun part about volleyball is you have someone like Perez make a big swing, and then the same side of the court, it's almost like they're battling individually on that left-hand, right-hand side of the court. Great swing by Hoyos. He goes to the back row. Big defensive opportunity for MVP Academy.
Gains kill number 6.
Oh, it's up. Great dig by Vasquez.
Just out of bounds.
And super smart play by Heath Hughes. Yes, he freeballed that ball over, but he went super short, made Francisco Pomar, the setter, make that first play, threw that whole Ponce Pumas defense or offense out of rhythm, out of system, which we don't see very often, and a big swing out of bounds. Big point for MVP Academy. Oh, good play though. Might have been off the block. Whoa, calling it a lift. Called it a lift. So you can't have a double contact on the first play, but you can certainly get a lift call. Huge break for Ponce Pumas.
Another look.
Okay, so beachy style play, they carry that ball super low on that set. So you just have to keep an eye out for that. Keep your hands nice and high, and that doesn't happen.
Trevor Kinnan with the serve for the Fire. The Pumas go back to their go-to player. John Victor Perez has given Ponce match point for a national title.
And it's just such a hard defense. It's a hard rotation to play defense against if you're MVP Academy. You have both Jean Victor Perez and Irizarry in the front row who have both done exceptionally well at the front line. So who do you block? Who do you leave one-on-one? And I'll say this, you never want to leave Jean Victor Perez one-on-one because he will crunch that ball.
Match point. The Pumas are national champions. The Ponce Pumas dropped the first set, battled back on the shoulders of number 7, Jean Victor Perez, to claim the boys' 18U final.
Resilience is the definition for this Ponce Pumas team. Battled back from losing that first set. Tight set when you have a big block. We've seen Irizarry play lights out on the block all day. Huge setup by his other player, Jonathan Cruz, and just like that, what a battle between two powerhouse volleyball programs.
Jonathan Cruz with a match-winning point, and the Ponce Pumas are national champions, overcoming so much adversity this season. Congratulations to both of these squads on fantastic years and an incredible national championship match. Let's take a look at some final stats.
And I have a feeling that the Ponce Pumas kills stat is significantly higher. Even though that first set, MVP Academy's offense was lights out, it was the resilience and the consistency in the setting and the setting choices for Ponce Pumas to get that big win. 8 service errors, very, very high, typically. Huge defense by Ponce Pumas as well, led by their back row.
Jean Victor Perez might be starring in a superhero movie from Marvel here soon.
And just such a big leaper. And what he did so well is he mixed his shots. He stayed cool, calm, and collected. That's a big block he's playing against. And his resilience to it, his response to every time he got blocked, got better and better. One rotation, he had 3 swing opportunities and stayed calm, cool, and collected to close out that point. Cannot talk about that kid more. He is a fantastic player. awesome volleyball player.
The Ponce Pumas are celebrating. They are the 18U 2018 National Champions. On behalf of our entire ESPN production crew, my partner Aaron Campbell, I'm Nolan Alexander. Thanks for joining us from the ESPN Wide World of Sports here at the 45th AAU Junior National Volleyball Championships.